We begin with this breaking news this afternoon as the Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office announces that a mother is now charged with first-degree murder in the death of her 15-month-old son.
A lot of questions this just coming into our newsroom. Here's what we do know. It's an investigation that first began back in August of last year. Annette Lawless in the newsroom. Annette, a lot of parts to this case.
Absolutely, Rachel, Mike. The release from the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office just coming in within this past hour. Shanna Witten of Clearwater is charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of child abuse, 1 count of aggravated child endangerment, and 1 count of arson. Now, this is in connection to the death of her 15-month-old son, that is Matthew Witten. Last August, law enforcement responded to an apartment complex in Clearwater for an unconscious child who had reportedly choked on food. Officers found that Matthew was not breathing. He was taken to the hospital, and that's where he died 3 days later. An autopsy found the child had died from complications due to lack of oxygen. His manner of death was ruled a homicide. During the investigation, detectives looked into this reported apartment fire that happened in January of last year. Now, it was determined the fire started in Matthew's bedroom while he was inside, and fire investors concluded that the fire was intentionally set. Witten was originally arrested in October on arson-related charges. Earlier this month, detectives presented their case and charges were amended to reflect Matthew's death. The sheriff's office also says that there are additional incidents that they are looking into involving Whitmore and also another deceased child that was a part of this investigation.